God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today. I was born in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. My father is American. My mother is Vietnamese. At a young age, we had to learn to hide. Because of the war, if you were an Amerasian baby, you were pretty much slaughtered. At a young age, I couldn't be a child. The communists would come through the villages on a regular basis. Eventually, my brother and I were hiding 8-9 hours a day. So what happened was my mother became a spy for the Americans and used her rights to get us into an American orphanage where we could be safe so we could be somewhat normal kids. You know, we couldn't play safely like any normal child, so she would make empty promises like, I'll come and take you out and I'll do this and do that, and it just never panned out. Obviously, she couldn't. My brother and I were being sponsored, so eventually we left Vietnam. My mother was not supposed to come with us. We were going to be orphans, so it was like goodbye. My mother found us 6 months later in some refugee camp because she escaped. Then my life pretty much started, and my mother got married to my second father. We came to America, where the land of the great. We were celebrated when we got here, and we pretty much thought that's the way life should have been. My second father ended up being very controlling, so life became chaos. My mother is a very strong-willed person, decided she would leave. She moved to Hawaii. She left us there because she couldn't afford to get more than one plane ticket. He didn't want us, so eventually we came to Hawaii. You know, at a very young age, I think all I ever wanted to be was loved. I just wanted to have a normal family. I don't know what normal is, but I had this concept of what normal should be. My expectations were always not met. Life, once I got to Hawaii, my mother, she had a language barrier, which gave it a really hard time for her to get a job. So she worked a day and night, went to school to support her 2 kids. And so my brother and I pretty much grew up on our own at 6 years old. We took care of ourselves, we did what we did, we fed ourselves, we took ourselves to school. We had no mother. We became children that sought adventure. You know, drugs and alcohol started at a very early age for us. Most kids at 6 years old were playing, you know, Barbie dolls, I guess, and basketballs, and we were smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. It started from there. Just, you know, the playing around of trying this and trying that occasionally, later on, controlled my life. Was in and out of schools, many different schools, hung around with the wrong crowds all my life, in and out of jails and institutions, pretty much from the time I was 14 years old. Caused a lot of havoc everywhere I went. Always wanted to be noticed. Always wanted to be loved. Didn't know how to get it. So my idea of getting loved was causing a scene every time, because some attention was better than no attention. My home life was horrible. You know, my mother never knew what to do with me. My mother was married, oh gosh, I don't know, 6 husbands. Every one of them, no good. You know, there was a lot of abuse in my home. There was a lot of it wasn't a happy home, you know, so I sought other adventures, and by the time I was 17 years old, I had some choices to make. And I was soon to turn 18, and I already had a very large criminal record that I wanted to disappear by the time I was 18. So I had a choice, and I've been in and out of counseling and therapy most of my life, and they told me that, if I turned my life around, I might have a chance. I went to school from 7 a.m. in the morning to 7 p.m. at night just to graduate. And I worked full time after that. And so, you know, that became my life for a long time. Once I graduated school, it was, what do I do? I pretty much worked and partied is what my lifestyle became. Eventually, I met my husband, that is of today. You know, he was my knight in shining armor. It was all the things a girl like me could never have. And then, you know, I got to travel and see things and do things. So he became that image in my head that I needed, I had to have. We dated and then eventually got married. You know, I'd like to say my wedding day was a bliss, but I was a true addict by then. And, you know, it was chaos. It was extreme chaos. But all I wanted was happiness. And we had 3 kids. My life was unmanageable. It was crazy. You know, we moved here, we moved there, one state to another, changing work, lots of chaos in regards to family issues. Communication, didn't know how to do that one bit. I was busy trying to be the perfect somebody so that people would love me. And really until I found my drug of choice. My drug of choice was cocaine. I could be everything. I was Superwoman. I thought I was Superwoman. You know, my lies and my stories in my life just became so much. I didn't remember who I was. Well, I didn't know who I was to begin with. Used drugs pretty much all my life, and I think for 28 years, it was extreme chaos. And, you know, bottom line was all I ever wanted to be was loved. Along with the not being, you know, true to myself, I wasn't true to anybody else. You know, I only had one vision, and that was using every day. Eventually, you know, my husband pretty much came to me with, you know, a choice. You're either going to seek some help or we're done. And I figured, you know, in my eyes, I'm like, well, you know, I'll go seek some help. You know, maybe this will shut him up. And, you know, I'll go away for 28 days. It'll be a vacation. Ended up in Cumberland Heights for 28 days. I slept for the first 3 days because I was sleep deprived. I don't think they knew I was even there for 3 days. Then eventually, you know, I had a roommate that was very bouncy. She would come in and go, let's go to a meeting. And she'd be super happy. I'd be like, what is with her? She is so happy. So, you know, it'd be like, so I would go. The longer I sat in treatment, the more I heard. You know, I got to finally talk about some of the pains that were in my life. I finally got to, you know, be truthful for the first time in my life, I think. You know, share those deep wounds that were in me for so many years. And it was like this major release, just to be, you know, just to release all those little scary things that I buried. That was really good for me. It was because I didn't know who I was. I was a chameleon for so many years, even to my own family, that I truly did not know who I was. I didn't know what I want. You know, I just thought I had to do everything perfect so that people would love me. I had no idea I was destroying lives. Not a clue. I saw the people smiling, and, you know, I figured, well, somebody came up to me in treatment, you know, in a meeting, and they said, well, you know, how about service work? You know, that always helped me get out of my head. And I was like, you know, service work, I guess I could do that, you know. like the good addict I am, I do everything to the extreme. I put myself in a lot of service work, and it really helped me to get out of myself. It gave me some hope. When I worked step one, I knew my life was completely unmanageable. And, and I was powerless. And I lived my life in pure insanity. That really opened up my eyes to seeing a lot of things that, today, step one is still the most important step in my life. Step one is, it's the incentive of why I want to get up every morning. I'm powerless, and I'm turning my life and will over, to the God of my understanding every day. 1, 2, 3, all the steps have true significant importance. I'm Cathy of Murfreesboro. I have 6 years clean. We do recover.